Hello, my name is Luigi Pengara. I'm the writer, director and narrator for my web series Big Bad Wolves and its spin-off The Purge Blades. And in this video I want to make a case for my werewolf characters. So in this video I want to talk about the issues of morality that these two web series within specific to Big Bad Wolves deal with. So hopefully you can enjoy the conversation along with me. So Big Bad Wolves centers around Tracy, the female protagonist with the short black hair, and she is a werewolf and she joins of similar people called the Pack in the small town of Speckle. And they all suffer something called the sickness, and it's categorized by this dark desire to eat the dead, to eat the human flesh. And the important thing to note here is that they don't want to eat the dead. They don't want to eat human flesh. They think it's disgusting. But it's justified, or at least a little bit, because they eat already dead people. Their number one rule is do not murder. They do not murder anyone to satiate their dark desires. They must never kill. And so this brings an ethical quandary, right? Cannibalism and eating sentient races is very horrible. It's extremely depraved and a very evil act. We can all be sure of that. It is among the biggest taboo of human society. However, because it's fiction, we can distance away from it, first of all, and because these characters aren't killing. They're not hurting anyone. They're feasting on already dead bodies, most of them 200 years old. So in our minds it's much easier to process that fact. One of my influences in creating the web series Big Bad Wolves was Dexter. And Dexter, I'm sure if you've seen the show, is about a serial killer who kills other serial killers. Now, killing another person is essentially wrong, but we as viewers, we can root behind Dexter because he kills bad guys, people who are even worse than him. So it seems it's easier for us to get behind him. And it's the same sort of thing in Big Bad Wolves, because these characters, they feel disgust at it. It's not because they're not enjoying it. It's not like they're happy that they're eating dead bodies. No. They don't want to do this, but they have to, because it's part of the werewolf disease, the werewolf curse, that they have to, and they only eat already dead bodies so that nobody's getting hurt. And that makes it much more easier to get behind these characters. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen a web series, please go check it out. It is a really good series. I'm not turning my own horn, it really is. Both online and offline, I had lots of people come up to me with praise and good comments on the show, saying that the black and grey morality really spoke to them. But in the series, the person who provides the dead bodies for the Pack, the group of werewolves, is Richard. Now Richard has connections he gets his bodies from the prison morgue. So once again, this allows the audience to connect with the characters, makes it easier to suspend their disbelief and accept these actions, because these bodies are already dead and they're criminals. Now, I'm not going to go into capital punishment. That's a whole different discussion, and it's just going to cause lots of arguments in the comments. But it is unknown what crimes these criminals committed before they were executed. I'm not sure if it was ever revealed in the show or not, but I've never revealed what these criminals actually committed before being executed by the state. And because the setting of Big Bad Wolves is a crapsack world, I wanted, but I didn't have the time or the opportunity to reveal that the government of Specure, of the Big Bad Wolves universe, was corrupt, and maybe these criminals were in fact political opponents. And as such, they were rounded up, and as history teaches us, they were executed, right? We don't know. It is unknown what they did. They could be very bad men, or they could have stolen something and been executed for it. We don't know. So that is another layer of grey. It is unknown what these prisoners done, but since they're prisoners, it's much more easier for us to get behind them. I'm not saying it's right, morally justifiable. I'm just saying, as an audience members, we're much more inclined to see bad things to happen to bad people. Some of it's to do with Schadenfreude, the idea of laughing at misfortune and horrible people, which can be the basis of some comedy. It makes this easier for us. But as the storyline progresses, it turns out that Richard is running out of 100-year-old bodies. And so we come to a character, Michael. Now, Michael is a werewolf just like Tracy and Richard, and his argument is that there is a really evil dude called Manfred. Now, Manfred likes to kill women, and he uses his money and his connections to the government of Specure to get out of jail. He is a really nasty bloke. He is the black of the black and grey morality. And Michael's argument is that since that the werewolves are running out of bodies to feast on, and they have to feast on them because otherwise the curse will destroy them, that they might as well kill this one guy, this one evil character, in order to satiate their hunger. His argument is that he's doing a world a service, because Manfred keeps on getting free. The law has not getting caught up to him, and justice is not being done. But the quandary is the rule that I keep mentioning: do not murder. The werewolves must never murder. And this raises an interesting question. Is it morally right is it justifiable to kill someone who's so evil? Is it on the same level of killing an innocent? Is it just as bad as killing an innocent? And that is a very difficult question. But it is one that I wanted to ask. Of course, in the series, Tracy says no. She doesn't want to break the rules, and she doesn't want this cloud following her, even though Manfred is a very bad person. Of course, Michael disagrees and kills them anyway. The irony is that Manfred's body is never taken to the group, to the pack, and it's just buried somewhere in the river or something, and it was all for nothing, eh? So that is another layer of the black and grey morality. Just a few questions I just want to bring up. Maybe you can mull over in your mind. Eventually, Richard does procure some new bodies at the prison morgue. it's starting to fill up again. And as it turns out, nobody's getting executed, no matter if it's a crapsack world or not. Nobody's getting executed by the states. But these new bodies keep showing up at the prison morgue, which leads Richard to assume, and Tracy too, that someone in the group has been killing. Now, as we learn throughout the series, that several innocents in the town of Specchio have been killed, and these bodies mysteriously end up at the prison morgue. These kills are fresh. They're not 100 years old bodies that the pack and the werewolf characters have been accustomed to. So the werewolf characters are not as willing to feast on these bodies. So now the werewolves are in danger. The local guard, the police if you will, are being investigated, and the werewolf hunters has been called in. I'll get to the werewolf hunters in a moment. As Tracy discovers that these killings have been caused by one of the members of the pack, Christopher, who saw that Richard was running out and he said he wanted to do something about it. Now, Christopher is an anomaly in the pack in that he enjoys killing. He willingly breaks their rule, and thus he turns into a bad guy, the big bad of the series. He broke the rule of do not murder, and he murdered so his friends could feast. This, of course, leads to Tracy killing Christopher in self-defense. Now, self-defense in most countries is justifiable. If someone is about to kill you, let's say a big bear, you have to fight back in order to save yourself or to save a friend, a family member, or a complete stranger. You have to defend yourself so no one gets hurt. And the sad thing, the bear dies, which is sad when animals do die, but you had no choice. And in a roundabout way, you saved your life or someone else's life. Something bad had to be done, but a better outcome was achieved. And no, I'm not saying we should go out and club seals to death. Hunting animals is considered a social evil. But we consume chicken in our burgers and our what in Italy we call cotolette, cutlets. We consume chicken and beef, and those animals have been killed so we can feed ourselves and our families. It's a little bit grey area. So Tracy was right to defend herself. She didn't want to kill Christopher. She had to because Christopher wanted to kill her. And Tracy, being the villain protagonist, the most light grey in a black and grey situation, had to do what to do to survive. She didn't want to, she didn't enjoy the killing, but she had to do it. And afterwards she feels remorse because now she knows she's crossed the line. But she hasn't crossed the moral event horizon. She didn't go out to kill. She didn't wake up one day and said she wants to kill Christopher. No, she didn't want to do that, but she feels that she has crossed the line, that she's broken the rules of do not murder in a strange sort of way. So she's complicated and things are difficult. Meanwhile, Christopher, he likes killing. He is the type of character who's also black, And he's been killing since he was a child. In the series, it's revealed that he killed a girl when he was a child. He also killed a barman just because he got angry. He was angry, the barman didn't let him have a drink or something. It's unknown what happened, but he killed her. He enjoys killing. That's why Christopher kills those innocents, and that's why he secretly made a deal with the prison guard to put those innocents, frame them as recently dead criminals in order to feed the group. But when Christopher dies, what's interesting is that he wants his own body to be used as sustenance for the group. And that plot point actually, I had a lot of people coming up to me offline and saying that was their favorite part. That we have this character who's unrepentant about killing innocents, yet there's this side of him that he wants to help his pack, help his family, help his friends. And he's donating his body to the group. It's an ironic twist, and probably the best way to help the group is to donate your body to the group to get consumed. So the character is Christopher. He's black, but there is a little bit of grey in him, contrasted with Tracy, who is very grey and now has a little bit of black. And so, of course, the group does eat Christopher. It's almost poetic, isn't it? And they don't want to do it, and they feel terrible, and they know their pack is ruined because Christopher broke the rule, and now they got to go on the run. And some of their members have died because of this. The last thing I want to talk about is the werewolf hunters and how they contrast with the werewolves. So in Big Bad Wolves, it was stated that these werewolf hunters are not the good guys, and usually in other media, books, games, video films, werewolf hunters are the good guys. Werewolves are the bad guys. They destroy the bad. They're seen as good. However, the werewolves in Big Bad Wolves, before I expanded among them for the Purge Blades, is that they're evil. They're black. They, instead of hunting werewolves, and these werewolf hunters, they know where these werewolves like to feed, where they like to congregate. They can tell. They do some investigative work, and they can tell. However, if they don't find the werewolves in time, the werewolf hunters will adopt an innocent person, go to the government, go to the populace and say, this person is the werewolf. And of course the government, because they are corrupt, will believe the werewolf hunters and say, yes, they need to be executed. Because these werewolf hunters, they do not care if you're a real werewolf hunter or not. They want their money, they need their glory, they need to be seen as they're doing their job. And that is really, really corrupt. That is really an evil thing to do. Using someone's innocence to elevate your position, to say that, yes, we're the good guys, and getting them executed. This makes the werewolf hunters a lot worse than the werewolves. The werewolves would never do such a thing. They would never, like their number one rule is, do not murder. They never ever hurt someone else. But these werewolf hunters do. And that's why these werewolf hunters are the bad guys, and the werewolves are not. As we learn in the Purge Blades, not all werewolf hunters are like that. Some are decent and some do not like the fact that they have this policy of getting innocents when they can't be bothered to find the real werewolf hunter and accusing them of being evil. So it's a very morally black and grey. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to make a case that my werewolf characters, although they are morally grey, they're not either good or evil. And compared to the other characters, the other villains, the big bads in the series, they can be seen as the good guys. Anyway, I hope this discussion has bred something into you. Hope it's made you think. And I will see you sometime later. Thank you for watching.